If you think physical intimacy is just an instinctive act you can use to bind your partner to you, then you know nothing about the hidden power of the body. This section isn't for those looking for cheap sexual advice. If you can't distinguish between pathetic lust and authoritative desire, don't waste your time and leave now. In this section, I'm going to expose a truth hidden beneath the sheets. The more desperate and thirsty you appear for physical intimacy, the more your attractiveness plummets in your partner's eyes. I've experienced with all my being how constant availability and begging for intimacy made my partner lose all excitement for getting close to me. I learned that physical intimacy should be the reward of emotional authority, not a tool to compensate for insecurities. If you don't know how to keep the flame of her desire burning by controlling your own, you're just using your body against your own power. You're about to learn how to be the architect of a desire that springs from respect, not from need. Step into the unseen. Welcome to the ultimate masterclass in decoding the female mind. Beyond instinct, intimacy as the primary fuel for the authoritative man's success. Do you recall our discussion in episode 11 regarding a woman's emotional security? Today, we are going to explore how, without the foundation of financial security, that very emotional sanctuary can suffer a systemic collapse. However, even when financial architecture, which we meticulously analyzed in episode 15, is robust, there exists a deeper, more primal engine that drives the masculine spirit, the realm of intimacy and physical connection. Today, we enter a territory often left behind closed doors, yet its influence on every dimension of a man's life, from high-stakes decision-making in the technology sector to resilience against the brutal oscillations of the gold, coin, and currency markets, is both vital and non-negotiable. My psychological critique of many high-achieving, strategic men is that they perceive marital intimacy merely as a biological necessity or a peripheral recreation. In reality, from the perspective of neuropsychology, the quality of this bond directly dictates your testosterone levels, your cortisol regulation, the stress hormone, and ultimately, your cognitive leadership. A man who has cultivated profound intimacy and sustained passion within his private domain appears in the external economic battlefield with an impregnable suit of armor. Let us deconstruct the paradox between intimacy and the mundane. One of the most significant challenges for couples in the year 2026 is the phenomenon of desire fatigue under the relentless bombardment of digital information and professional pressures. When your mind is perpetually occupied with analyzing the latest artificial intelligence codes or monitoring the real-time fluctuations of the gold and coin markets, your nervous system remains locked in a sympathetic state, fight or flight. In this condition, a man's body effectively loses the capacity to enter the phase of deep intimacy. My critique of the modern lifestyle is that men arrive home depleted and expect intimacy to occur as an automated response. However, psychological interpretation informs us that for a woman, physical intimacy begins hours earlier in the mental space. If you haven't signaled her absolute priority throughout the day with subtle messages or by protecting family boundaries, as we discussed in episode 18, the physical union will inevitably devolve into a soulless, mechanical act. A deeper layer of this segment involves the concept of receptive authority within intimacy. Many men erroneously believe that authority equates to absolute control. However, in the realm of intimacy, true authority manifests as creating a space for the spouse's total liberation. A woman can only reach the zenith of her passion when she feels a sense of absolute, unjudged security alongside her partner. My severe critique of couples trapped in the illusions of the tech world and social media is that they derive their standards of intimacy from false media portrayals rather than the mutual discovery of the body and soul of their partner. As an authoritative man, you must be the explorer of your spouse's inner world. This profound knowledge grants you a power that no market analyst in the world of currency or dollar scan ever attain. You are building an emotional nuclear energy that feeds your entire structure of success. To ensure this section reaches the maximum volume for your records, emphasize that intimacy is not a reward for a good relationship, but the pillar that sustains it. A man who neglects physical intimacy with his spouse due to financial preoccupations in the gold market is effectively dehydrating his own source of inspiration and internal strength. In the subsequent parts, we will explore operational topics such as techniques for reigniting passion in long-term marriages, intimate body language, and how to decouple business stress from private space. We are learning how to preserve the warmth of our home's embrace as our most sacred asset amidst the cold world of numbers. You are learning to be an authoritative lover, one who remains number one not only in the market, but also in the heart of his spouse. In this stage of our strategic analysis of intimacy, we must confront a skill that determines the boundary between a depleted man and an authoritative man: the art of mental disconnection. From the perspective of physiological psychology, the ultimate assassin of intimacy is the hormone cortisol, which flows through your bloodstream due to the endless pressures of the technology world and the neurological volatility of the gold and coin markets. My psychological critique of modern men is that they effectively carry the exhausted corpse of their business into the bed. When you remain in your private space while simultaneously checking the price of the dollar or responding to professional emails, you are broadcasting a clear signal to your spouse. The world of objects and numbers is more valuable to me than your living, breathing presence. This behavior incinerates the roots of passion. You must learn how to press the world's off switch in order to activate the intimacy switch. Let us examine the concept of transition rituals. An authoritative man requires a mental bridge to cross from the brutal external world into the soft space of intimacy. This bridge could be 10 minutes of silence in the car, a hot shower, or a complete change from professional attire to comfortable home clothing. My critique of the hyper-accelerated lifestyle of 2026 is that we have forgotten the necessity of psychological readiness. To ensure that passion remains a blazing flame in your marriage after years of union, you must establish protected time. This is a temporal zone where neither the price of currency nor familial complications, which we analyzed in episode 18, are permitted to enter. This is the space where you revert to being two human beings rather than two crisis managers or parents. Psychological interpretation informs us that variety in intimacy is found not in changing partners, but in discovering new layers of the same partner. The next layer involves non-sexual touch and body language. One of the most significant strategic errors men commit is limiting all physical contact to the final moments of intimacy. This creates a defensive guard in your spouse as she begins to perceive your touch merely as an instrumental prelude to an end goal. My critique is that you must consistently fund your spouse's emotional bank account throughout the day. An unsolicited embrace, holding her hand while discussing a tech project, or a simple caress sends a powerful message of security and belonging to her nervous system. When this emotional bank is full, physical desire will flourish naturally and authoritatively. True authority here equates to taking the initiative in affection without necessarily expecting an immediate reward. This is the long-term investment that yields dividends far exceeding any gold or real estate market. To ensure this part achieves maximum volume for your records, emphasize the concept of total presence. When you are with your spouse, be fully present. Your eyes should not be scanning for phone notifications. In the age of artificial intelligence, pure human attention has become the most expensive commodity in the world. In the subsequent parts, we will delve into the sensitive topic of the biological differences in desire and how to authoritatively and respectfully articulate fantasies and needs. We are learning how to transform the bedroom into an energizing sanctuary that, upon exiting, doubles your power to conquer global markets. You are learning to be the conductor of the intimacy orchestra in your own life. The diplomacy of the bedroom and biological variations, how to manage needs with authority and respect. In this phase of our deconstruction of intimacy, we must confront one of the most fundamental structural differences between men and women, a discrepancy that, if ignored, becomes the root of profound frustration: the asymmetry in arousal patterns. From the perspective of evolutionary and clinical psychology, the pattern of desire in most men is spontaneous, whereas in many women, desire functions as responsive. My psychological critique of men immersed in the high-pressure worlds of technology and business is their assumption that their spouse should always mirror their level of readiness. However, the reality is that for a woman, physical intimacy is a function of the system's overall tranquility. If you have spent the day battling the volatility of the gold and currency markets and brought that tension home, her limbic system remains in a defensive posture, suppressing desire. Real authority here means strategic patience, the understanding that you must first cultivate the psychological environment for the seed of intimacy to germinate. Let us expand on the topic of authoritative verbal communication regarding intimacy. One of the greatest cultural taboos hindering couple growth is the inability to speak transparently about fantasies, needs, and personal boundaries. My critique of modern couples is that they can discuss the price of the dollar or the latest tech gadgets for hours, yet they suffer from emotional aphasia when it comes to their deepest physical and spiritual needs. An authoritative man is one who can articulate his desires without inducing shame or guilt in his partner, while simultaneously providing a secure space for her to reveal her own hidden needs. Psychological interpretation teaches us that verbal intimacy is the prerequisite for physical intimacy. If you cannot draw near to your spouse through words, you will never reach the true depths of connection through the body alone. A further layer involves acceptance and intelligent diversification. In 2026, with the unprecedented infiltration of digital media, many men fall into the trap of false sexual perfectionism, a direct result of comparing real life to the curated frames of the virtual world. My critique is that these comparisons annihilate genuine pleasure. You must learn that beauty resides in human imperfection and the authenticity of the bond. Your authority lies in making your spouse feel sufficient and desirable. When a woman feels that in her husband's eyes she remains the most captivating being on earth, despite the exhaustion of daily life and the pressures of the gold and real estate markets, her oxytocin levels surge. This hormone is the glue that ensures your relationship against the storms of economic instability. To ensure this part reaches the absolute maximum volume, emphasize that physical intimacy is a win-win negotiation, not a field of conquest. You are developing a private shared language that no one else in the world understands. This exclusivity is your power. In the fourth and final part, we will address the vital subject of reconstructing intimacy after crisis and parenthood, and how to preserve the role of the lover alongside the roles of father and executive. We are learning how to transform passion into a conscious habit so that it never grows cold. You are completing the puzzle of an authority that is rooted firmly in the heart of the home. Sustainable intimacy through time, escaping the roommate trap, and eternalizing desire. We have arrived at the final station of our deconstruction of intimacy, the point where we must confront the greatest threat to long-term relationships: normalization and the submersion into functional roles. From the perspective of existential psychology, many couples gradually exit the roles of lovers and partners and devolve into the roles of administrative colleagues, household managers, or merely co-parents. My psychological critique of men who are fighting with all their might in the competitive markets of technology and business is that they expend all their creativity and energy in the external world, bringing only their depleted remnants home to their most private layer of life. In a world where fluctuations in the price of the dollar, gold, and coins constantly push our minds toward survival mode, conscious intimacy is the only way to preserve humanity and connection. You must learn that authority at home means managing the atmosphere of passion, not just providing the means of subsistence. Let us explore the strategy of emotional innovation. A key concept in long-term relationship psychology is creating variety within the framework of security. My critique of traditional couples is that they allow the dust of habit to settle upon their bond. An authoritative man understands that intimacy requires design and temporal investment. You cannot expect the passion of the early years to persist into the 10th year without deliberate effort. Just as products in the technology world require updates and innovation to remain relevant, your language of intimacy must be constantly upgraded. This could manifest as unexpected solo trips for two, learning new emotional skills, or even evolving the way you express affection. Psychological interpretation tells us that desire flourishes in a space where the individuality of both partners is maintained alongside their connection. Another layer involves rebuilding the bond after crisis. Life is not always favorable. Sometimes financial failures in the currency market, the stress of failed tech projects, or the sheer exhaustion of raising children creates a chasm between you and your spouse. In these moments, the risk of emotional divorce is exceptionally high. My critique of men is that they often shut down intimacy during these periods. However, the truth is that during a crisis, physical and emotional intimacy must function as a healing medicine. Your embrace should communicate to your spouse: whatever happens in the outside world, our inner world is secure and impenetrable. This is where you prove your authority as the ultimate anchor. Intimacy here is no longer just a pleasure. It is an act of resistance against the hardships of life. To ensure this text reaches its maximum volume in your records, emphasize this conclusion. An authoritative man is a hero on every battlefield, especially the one where his wife's heart beats. Do not let the numbers and figures of the gold and coin markets blind you to the beauty of your relationship. In episode 20, we will move to the vital subject of crisis management and resilience, how to stand firm when the external world collapses. We will learn how an authoritative man builds greater victories from the ashes of defeat and how he steers the family ship with steady hands amidst the peak of the storm. We are learning the art of invincibility.